Instruction number 9, base running, when it comes to the jump and the running game. So a jump rating is a rating that would show when a certain base runner would steal a base. Generally, what happens in this game is that you'll hit a single or walk to get on base, get on first base, and there might be a check for you to go and check to see if that jump rating is passed by the base runner. If so, they attempt to steal a base. Running game is a little bit different in the fact that if you've got a jump rating within the number, you would then go and have a look at a running game check. A running game check is a check that goes to the pitcher's hold rating, and it also goes and checks out things like pick-offs and things like that. So you could get picked off base with a running game rating. Running game ratings are generally anywhere from jump of 1 to 20. So it's these checks where the lower end people get their steals. Generally, people over 20 jump will just be a straight jump, and that jump will be a stolen base against the catcher's arm. But we'll go through a couple of examples here in a minute. So, how do we find out if a player gets a jump or not? A jump is, as I said, 1 to 100. Now, there are some special base runners out there that steal a huge amount of bases. There's 3 ratings that are, well, basically it goes 1 to 130, I think. And then once you hit 130, you have 1 star. I think if you get a jump rating of about 150, there's 2 stars. And I think 180 or so plus is 3 stars. Obviously, they're fairly rare. They're generally guys who maybe have not played that much but got a couple of steals in really short time, or your Ricky Henderson type guys. There's a guy in front of us right now, Kenny Lofton, who's got 1 star. You can see that Kenny stole 60 bases that year at an 83% rate. So obviously that's going to be somewhere around 70 odd plus attempts there. But you can see as you go by this first page of Indians, how the jump rating is generally quite small and non-existent. So you flip a card over. On the pitch, you can get jump attempts. You can get a jump attempt on the pitch if you walk. So in this case, there is walk 4, and if the batter walks, anyone with a jump, which is a star or above, so a jump is 1 star, 2 stars or 3 stars, so the really big stealers can then steal a base or attempt to steal a base. Now, we went through the Indians there, and Kenny Lofton has a star there, but he's the only one in the team that would be able to attempt the base. If Kenny Lofton attempted to steal, he would go underneath to his steal rating, 83. He would adjust that by a catcher's rating. So if I come over here to the Seattle team over here, we can see that we got Dan Wilson as the catcher. He's a -7. So Kenny Lofton's steal rating would be 76 against Dan Wilson. The pitcher's hold doesn't come into account here. 76%, he's in there. If it goes the other 24, they've thrown him out. Say Kenny Lofton, though, was coming up against the White Sox and Ron Karkovice was the catcher. We see Karkovice doesn't adjust at all. He's a 0. So Kenny Lofton would be 83. That's how you do a steal. Different catchers have different adjustments. Either they throw more guys out than the average, or they are below the average, so they give the base runners more percentage chance to get in there. If we have this one here, and it's a walk of 2 and a 50 jump. Now again, if we go through, Kenny is over 100. Mark Lewis, no. Bioga, no. Sorrento, no. Eddie Murray, no. Albert Bell, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez or Morello. None of those other guys get 50. So no one else could steal that base. If Kenny Lofton got that, he could go, but no one else. If we're playing the White Sox, Lance Johnson could go. He's 103, but no other White Sox. If we're playing the Mariners, no one on the starting lineup there would get it. So you see when you get to 40 or above, there's less and less guys that are able to. So the jump ratings themselves, although they come up a lot on the cards, they're not going to be in play a lot of the time. You'll obviously know who your best stealing guys are with the best jump ratings. If you don't, you'll know them pretty soon. If a jump 50 comes up, you're not going to be checking Jay Buhner, for instance. You're probably not going to check the catcher, Dan Wilson. So you won't even have to look. As I said, if the jump ratings are 20 and under, a lot of the time, or most of the time, they get their steals under what is called the running game section. So I've got some cards over here. They generally come on fielding checks. So, first of all, as I explained in an earlier video, fielding checks work out to be about 50% league average. So, first of all, when you come onto this card, you have a fielding check. If it's a single, you got a 50% chance to obviously get on base. When you do, if your jump rating qualifies, so you would have to have a jump rating of 6 or above to qualify for a running game. Now, if we come over to the Indians, which is our initial team we looked at here. Now, Kenny, he's obviously about 150, he's over 100. Mark Lewis is a 12. He would do a running game there. Bioga's a 20. He would do a running game. Sorrento's a 2. He's under that. No running game for him. Eddie Murray, 25. Albert Bell, 27. They both have running games. Jim Thome, 13. Manny Ramirez, 13. Both running games. Morello hasn't got a jump rating, so no running game. So I think there was like 7 of them that would attempt a running game. If we have a 19, that would rule out a bunch more people. We would have Lofton, Bioga, Bell, Murray, and that's it. So we got rid of another few people in there that wouldn't have a running game check. But if they were above it, then they would have a running game check. Okay, so if I grab, say for instance, this is the card deck. I flip it over. We can see over here we've got the running game. And generally, it's going to be all about the hold rating of the pitcher. So the hold rating is, the best hold rating is -30, -25, -20, -15, -10, -5, goes -4, -3, -2, -1, and then it goes into the pluses, +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +10, +15, +20, +25, +30. Okay, so -30 is the best. Hold +30 is the worst. Okay, so if you hold +30, you're going to be giving up a lot of steal attempts. You better hope that you have a good catcher. if you have a -30 or a -15, -20, you're going to stop a lot of these stealing checks. So yeah, guys like Kenny Lofton are going to get their stolen bases directly off the jump ratings. But guys like Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, they're going to, like, they got 13 ratings here. Paul Sorrento even, he's got a 2 rating. They're going to get their steal attempts off the running game. So in this case, and I probably should get a picture to have a look at, or a couple of pictures. We might get a couple of pictures we got out before. So we've got Mark Clark, who is a -25, and Dennis Martinez, who is a plus. So hold for Mark Clark, -25. Hold for Martinez, +4. On this running game, we've got a hold of 25+. Now, both these pitches are better than +25. So in that case, they stop the run. If there was a pitcher on the worst rating of hold 30+ or 30, the base runner would get a lead, but in this case, it's a bad lead, -20. So you can get a good lead or a bad lead on those steals. See if you can get some other. In this case here, we have a hold 0. So -25 for Mark Clark is better than 0. +4 is worse. So Mark Clark will hold the runner. No stolen base happens. But Dennis Martinez is a +4. So he's going to give up a stolen base attempt. But not only is he going to give up a stolen base attempt, the base runner's got a good lead. And if there's a runner on first and second and they can attempt a double steal, it's a +20 on the stolen base range. So say, for instance, we had Jim Thome. One of the rare times he takes a steal, he took 3 steals that year. He's got a normal steal rating of 50%. We're going to add that +20 to Thome to make him a 70%. And then we take the catcher off. If it was Dan Wilson he was facing, it would go down to 63%. If it was Ron Karkovice, he'd still be on 70%. So you can see that if you hold the runner, no damage is done. If you allow the steal, the runners can get various types of leads, so good leads or bad leads. See if we can get some other results. Hold 30, -30. So if you were the best type of hold rated pitcher, you would pick off the base runner. And there's a chance for everyone to pick off the base runner at some stage, but obviously those who are lower, like in the negative numbers, will pick off a lot more runners. I'm going to see if I can find a couple more. Here's an example of a running game that as soon as you got it, he's going. It's a great lead. He's stolen the base. So no matter who it is, it's a steal on this one. But we need to check the catcher for throwing error. So he might throw that away into center field and the runner will get over to third base. Here's one where the holder 25 holds the runner. And he's going to, anyone that's not that, they would steal against, or they would attempt to steal. So in this case, Mark Clark would hold the runner. But against Dennis Martinez, he would steal. If you're Mark Clark, though, he's thrown it back for the pickoff attempt, and the runners dive back in. So a pickoff attempt, runner dives back in safely. If we have this one, it's a hold 5+. Pickoff attempt, dive back in. We need to check the base runner rating to see if he passes the check. If the base runner rating is check is failed, then the runner is picked off. In this case, negative 25 is better than 5. Plus 4 is a higher rating than a plus 5. So both of these guys would have a chance to get a pick off there. And then it's onto the base runner rating of the base runner. So that's how pickoffs work. And that's how base running works. So it's a two-tier system. You have the straight steal from the jump rating. If the player gets a jump rating on a straight steal, he would then take his steal rating against the catcher's arm. If it's a running game, first we have to go against what the card says and see if their hold rating is going to pass the test. Otherwise, we do what it says there. So that's basically it on the stealing from the jumps and the running game. Any questions, let me know.